Every single time the subtitles say Ozempic, they spell it wrong, but different each time. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon. If you're new here, I created this channel to talk about general nutrition, break down some common myths, give fitness advice. A little bit about me: I have my doctorate in clinical nutrition. I'm also a certified personal trainer. I've worked clinically in the hospital as a dietitian, and I currently coach clients through fitness and nutrition advice. So for today's video, I thought we'd talk about a common nutrition topic with the infamous GLP-1s, such as Ozempic, for example. So some of you may have heard of a story a couple years ago where a woman experienced stomach paralysis. So I wanted to go over that, break down some things about it, give my feedback throughout, and then, yeah, we'll go from there.
Some weeks I can vomit up to 200 times.
5 years ago, Emily Wright's doctor prescribed Ozempic for her type 2 diabetes. She says she's lost around 150 pounds, but now is living with a paralyzed stomach.
So right off the bat, something I'm curious about is what the dosing would be. Most physicians would start at a very low dose and build up from there. If she's losing 150 pounds in that time frame, that's pretty excessive.
Ozempic has ruined my understanding of food and my relationship with food, and I have no understanding or knowledge of, when I'm going to get better.
This is a really important thing she brings up. So losing your relationship with food. So typically in a lot of cultures, but especially in most American households, you learn from a young age to ignore your hunger cues. So when you were a child, if the plate was put in front of you and you were told you can't get up until you eat, children usually can't eat a lot. So maybe halfway through the dish, 3/4, you start to get pretty full. Your body understands that you don't want to eat more, and then you learn to push past that. So now your natural instinct becomes to get to the point of being uncomfortably full for most of the meals you eat. So typically you hear chew, 28 times, 30, however many times, and then you feel full, allow 20 minutes or so for your hunger cues to set in. So for someone who already lost that, this can exacerbate that even more.
Bedridden, can barely eat, and needs a nurse to administer fluids 3 times a week. Wright believes the symptoms are connected to using Ozempic.
Patients are losing weight on.
Every single time the subtitles say Ozempic, they spell it wrong, but different each time.
On it.
The drug's popularity soared when celebrities said it helped them lose weight, or when they were accused of taking it. Wright stresses she used Ozempic for their prescribed purpose. This diabetes researcher.
One thing, the prescribed purpose, that can mean a lot of things. So where is she getting the prescription from? There's a lot of online clinics that have zero to little guidance. You just have to qualify for having a specific BMI, and then they send it over and you're injecting yourself. So what was the guidance for dosing again? How did she get it? If it was through a physician, like her primary care physician, did they walk her through it and everything? A lot of times even physicians will give very brief introductory nutrition advice there. So it might be just a short summary, like a 1-page paper description of what to do. And depending on the physician's experience with nutrition, which can vary a lot, a lot of med schools don't really focus on the nutrition side of things to a heavy extent. So I'd be really curious to hear that as well.
It says gastrointestinal effects like Wright's happen to a small amount of people. He hopes the negative tales don't undermine the benefits for many patients.
The GI side effects, they are real. A lot of people will get them, but generally they're not going to cause people to be unable to take the medication.
Other concerns have emerged, including some claims it may lead to suicidal thoughts. Health Canada says it is conducting a safety review of Ozempic and similar types of medicines, as are several other countries. In a statement, Ozempic's maker says patient safety is of the utmost importance and that it remains confident in the drug's benefit-risk profile. Wright has been in and out of hospital and can't work. She wants a cure and says the weight loss wasn't worth it.
If I could today sit here and tell you that I was
Okay, that's easy to say in retrospect, that if you're given the chance to lose 100 pounds, would you not take it knowing there's some risks involved? Obviously, no one wants stomach paralysis. I'm not promoting it in any way, shape, or form, but it's a very difficult situation if less than 0.1% of people are experiencing issues. And how are the issues caused? What is the control there? So there's a lot of things to dig into.
was 280 pounds again, but I wasn't sick, I would be happy.
And I'll often see clients that are barely overweight, if even overweight, interested in Ozempic. So if your BMI is 25 or 26, you don't need Ozempic. You just need slight diet changes to get into that healthy range.
Daniel Dove, Global News.
So overall, I don't really have a lot of issues with Ozempic when it's done with guidance. As you can tell, one of my major reservations with it is lack of guidance. So people will haphazardly get onto Ozempic, maybe do too large of a dosage, and go from eating their typical diet to just less of what they did before. So you're reducing food noise, but if you're not making large nutrition, diet, lifestyle changes, it's not for you. If you're going from eating, let's say, mostly fast food in a day, or a lot of fried foods, processed foods, to just less of those, you're likely taking a diet that was deficient in certain things and just making it more deficient in even more things. So, for example, a heavy fast food diet is probably going to be low in protein. Now you're going dangerously low in protein to when you lose weight loss, you're going to be losing lean and muscle loss as well. So, typically one of the standards is if you're losing over 2 pounds a week, there's a good chance it's going to be muscle loss, especially with the lack of protein in there. That's one of the first things. Then if you're not having fruits, vegetables, all those other things, you're going to be deficient in different micronutrients or at very high risk of it. If this is something you're considering getting on, I strongly encourage you to have some guidance along the way. Consult a dietitian, talk to your primary care physician or a specialist. Make sure you're doing everything in your favor to reduce the risks of going on it. And it's probably going to be a temporary thing, something you're not on for the rest of your life. So, like any diet, if it's temporary, the results are temporary. You really need to build up those habits, eating healthy foods, diverse food groups, getting your micronutrients in, your fiber in, protein. Having fat moderation is huge as well. So really make sure you're doing your due diligence before even looking into starting something like this. I'd also strongly encourage doing some type of resistance training, weight training, to make sure you're losing as little muscle as possible with having increased protein intake, and also so that your bone health is adequate and so that you're not losing bone mass as well. In the US, we see pretty high rates of osteoporosis in the elderly and things like that. Bone fractures are a common cause and then we begin to see health decline. So really, I cannot stress this enough to make sure you do all your research before considering something like this. So that's really all for this time. Let me know if you have any questions below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Be well, and I'll talk to you next time.